What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more talk. We're returning to Laughingstock 1991. As always, thank you to Stuart. And the next track is Newgrass. Now, I've learned in the last album and a half, certainly on this album, that their song titles, even their lyrics, aren't necessarily going to give you a full narrative story, or rather a singular and concrete narrative story, and that a lot of the songs in the last half dozen or so that we've heard, there's a vibe, there's an atmosphere, there's a transportive quality to the music, but it's not something where I go into their songs now expecting to get a clear verse, chorus, very detailed and specific and narrow narrative exposition. So in that regard, Newgrass, it makes me think of, number one, it sounds a bit like bluegrass. I don't imagine this will sound anything like the music style bluegrass, but yeah, there's a phonetic similarity to that, so that does come to mind. But also the idea that new grass means a surface has been, what's the right word, like planted anew. There is something new growing there, which either things were cleared away to make room for, or there is some sort of rejuvenation, renewal, and thus there is new possibility and a new atmosphere that may be more about what will happen, but seemingly, and at least implicitly, is distinct from what was there before, whether that was barren or whether something else different had been growing there. So, yeah, again, I don't expect necessarily any definitive answer to these thoughts relative to this two-word phrase, but that's what's going through my head as we start. Let's give it a listen. This is Talk. The track is New Grass, and it's from the 1991 album Laughingstock. their tunes, especially in the last album and a half, and on this album specifically, and with this song even more particularly, I feel like if it kept going, I'd end up in a neighboring star system or a neighboring galaxy. It really feels like I'm just being kind of carried away, and I don't know where we're going, and I don't know exactly what the meaning is, but I'm there for it, and I'm on the journey. So again, I'm just going to keep saying it. Their pursuit of something that is outside the typical range of pop groups or rock groups or even like experimental groups, it feels very clear at this point that they're doing what they want to do, irrespective of, radio play or even necessarily something that you could dance to or whatever. It's really like music for music's sake, and art music at that. And it's interesting because, like, in one way, the drum is doing that rhythm, I think, pretty much the entire tune. It's, like a little hi-hat rhythm, and then there's a snare and like a kick drum, so it's very cyclical. But apart from that percussive engine of the tune, the rest of the tune doesn't feel like it's so much repeating as just going wherever it pleases. It's capricious, it's exploratory, and it is wandering. And again, I'm there for it. I'm following along, and I am being taken on the journey. Didn't catch enough of the lyrics to get a sense for what may be happening, if there is a clear, concrete picture here. But certainly there is a mood of the tune, and that is, again, smooth, reflective, exploratory, all of those things somehow merged into one. I do enjoy the different like keyboard layers. There's a real kind of like electric church organ, then there's a more like electric blues kind of organ line, and then obviously there's some guitar work, both more like strumming and mellow grooving, and then other moments where it gets a bit more like focused and like in rhythm, in time. So yeah, using the different parts of the band to great effect. Hollis's voice again has this very ethereal quality, which I suppose is enhanced by the fact that I don't quite know what he's saying in a lot of cases. But yeah, it's just a mood, it's a vibe, and that feels like what they've been doing now, again, not just for this album, but even going back to the previous one. So yeah, a long one. That's gotta be like 8 minutes or so. In fact, almost 10 minutes. That's even longer than it felt. So yeah, again, like not a track that can be simply, like it's a single mix on the radio. It's a real like album track, art track, like art music track, art rock. So definitely, and sort of jazz stylings. I wouldn't necessarily call this jazz. If it is, it's like free form quasi-space jazz, but definitely there's a bit of a jazzy feeling just in some of the instrumental parts. And again, maybe even some like a bit of blues gospel feel in some of those like organ parts too. But yeah, just a really compelling tune, even though I don't really have anything to say about it thematically. So yeah, let me know if you do have some thoughts on that. Let me know what you think about the tune, and I will see you next time. Peace.